What if I told you that the most powerful healing force doesn't come from pills, surgeries, or even doctors, but from something already inside you, something so simple, so ancient, that most people overlook it their entire lives? Right now, millions of people over 60 are quietly losing hope. They're told their bodies are wearing out, that aches are just part of aging, that energy, clarity, and vitality are things of the past. But what if all of that is a lie? And what if your body isn't breaking down? Is it trying to wake you up? In this video, you'll uncover how Buddhist wisdom helps restore vitality by listening deeply, breathing consciously, letting go emotionally, and embracing the graceful power of aging. If you've ever felt like your body is slowing down while your soul still longs for clarity, connection, and vitality, if you've tried routines, supplements, or advice, but still wake up tired, foggy, or anxious about the future, this is for you, because you were never meant to feel powerless in your own body, not at 60, not at 70, not ever. Stay with me until the end. Not only will you rediscover what real healing feels like, you might just remember who you truly are. Let's begin with the first truth, a lesson the body has been whispering to you for years. Healing begins when we finally listen. 1. The body speaks when the mind listens. We often treat our bodies like machines, expected to keep going, keep producing, keep serving us until something breaks. Only then do we pause, and even then, we usually look for a pill, not a message. But what if your body isn't breaking? What if it's speaking, and all it wants is for you to finally listen? Long ago, during a winter retreat in the mountains, a young monk named Tetsugen became gravely ill. His body burned with fever. His fellow monks offered herbs, prayers, and warm compresses, but Tetsugen refused them all. He chose instead to sit in the meditation hall each morning, pale and sweating, focusing solely on his breath. For 7 days, he said nothing. On the 8th, his fever broke. When asked why he didn't seek help, he replied, "The illness wasn't against me, it was with me. It whispered where I was unbalanced, where I was not still enough, and in silence, I finally heard it." Your symptoms are not enemies. What if your fatigue is not laziness? What if your insomnia is not dysfunction? What if your body aches is not the problem, but the messengers? We live in a world that sees symptoms as enemies to be fought. But in Zen, everything arises with a purpose, especially discomfort. When you have a headache that returns every afternoon, or chronic fatigue despite doing everything right, the first place to look isn't your calendar or your blood test. It's your inner climate. What unspoken tension is rising inside you, waiting to be noticed? When the mind races, the body tightens, muscles brace, digestion slows, and the immune response weakens. This is not failure. This is the body trying to survive in a world of constant pressure. But the opposite is also true. When the mind finds space, when even 5 minutes of real presence returns, the body breathes differently. Blood vessels relax, hormones shift, cells begin to repair, not just react. Stillness is not passive, it is a biological intervention, and it doesn't require a cave. It only requires your attention. The body is a canvas, always painting how we live inside. A clenched jaw often mirrors unspoken words. A tight chest mirrors anxiety we haven't named. Digestive issues often reflect what we can't stomach emotionally. Your body isn't random, it's intelligent, it's expressive, and it wants a relationship with you. There is something mysterious that happens when we stop resisting discomfort and instead get curious about it. The moment we ask, "What are you trying to tell me?" we shift our vibration from control to surrender, from fear to curiosity, and life responds to that. Opportunities soften their way into our path. Kind people show up. We feel more seen. Why? Because our outer world is a subtle echo of our inner tone. The more we ignore or suppress our inner experience, the more the world feels harsh and disconnected. But when we listen inwardly, we begin to attract clarity, calm, even healing, not by striving, but by matching what we want to feel from the inside out. I used to wake up every day with a heavy, invisible weight in my chest. Doctors found nothing. Blood tests were fine, but I knew something was wrong. It wasn't until I began to sit in silence every morning, just 10 minutes, hands on my chest, breathing and whispering, "I hear you," that things began to shift. The tension didn't leave overnight, but little by little, I could breathe deeper, cry more freely, sleep without running from dreams. The healing didn't come from outside. It came when I stopped treating my body like a stranger and started treating it like a sacred teacher. 3 inner lessons from Zen. Healing 1. Pain is a request for presence, not punishment, not betrayal, just a call for attention. 2. Stillness reveals the root. Under the symptom is a pattern, under the pattern is a story, and under the story is freedom. 3. Your body is not separate from your mind or soul. It is your partner, and it remembers everything until you help it let go. Today, take one small moment, just one, to sit with your body, not to fix it, but to feel it. Place a hand where you feel tightness, and instead of judgment, offer listening. That's where healing begins. Once we begin to listen, something else begins to shift. The breath deepens, the inner storm softens. But there is one medicine that connects all layers of our being, from our brain to our heart to every single cell. It's something so simple we often overlook it, yet it holds the power to bring us back home. 2. The breath that heals more than medicine. Most people breathe to survive. Monks breathe to awaken. In the modern world, we inhale stress and exhale fragments of ourselves, barely aware of the sacred rhythm unfolding in our chest. But what if the way you breathe determines how deeply you heal? There is a tale of a Zen master who lived in a small hut nestled between 2 peaks. He was known not for his teachings, but for his silence. Every morning, he would sit at the edge of the mountain, facing the sunrise, and breathe with the wind. One day, a student asked him, "Master, why do you sit here doing nothing?" The old man replied, "When I match my breath to the mountain wind, I stop being separate from life. And in that stillness, nothing is missing, not healthy, not peace." The student returned a year later. The master had not aged. He looked younger. Most of us forgot how to breathe. When was the last time you noticed your breath? Not just during a yoga class or after a long walk, but felt the air enter your body, like a gift, like a sacred thread connecting you to something more than thought. As children, we breathe deeply, with joy, with wonder, with full bellies and open hearts. But somewhere along the line, stress taught us to shrink, tension made us shallow, and the breath, our oldest friend, became background noise. What we don't realize is that shallow breathing isn't neutral. It tells the body to brace. It whispers to the heart, "Something's wrong." It signals the mind to stay on edge. And so we live in low-grade panic, even when nothing is chasing us. When you begin to slow your breath, especially the exhale, your body starts to soften from the inside out. The heart finds rhythm, the mind finds space, the digestive system wakes up from its armor. Cells receive more oxygen, the bloodstream flows more freely. Energy isn't wasted on survival, it's directed toward repair. In just a few minutes of intentional breathing, you shift the body's chemistry from fear to safety. This is not magic. This is how you were designed. Here's something few people realize. Your breath changes your thoughts even more than your thoughts change your breath. When we're anxious, our breathing becomes shallow and fast. But if we reverse it, slow the breath, the mind stops spinning, the inner noise begins to fade, emotions untangle themselves. In silence, through breath, we begin to observe rather than react. We begin to respond with clarity instead of impulse. And that's when healing thoughts return. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them, breathing beneath them. Your breath carries your vibration. When you breathe with fear, you radiate tension. Others feel it. When you breathe with gratitude, you radiate warmth. Opportunities move toward you. When you breathe with trust, your entire reality begins to shift. The universe is not measuring your worth in actions. It's responding to your energy. And your energy begins with how you breathe. The breath is not just air, it's intention, attention, and alignment. I remember a season in my life when I couldn't sleep more than 3 hours a night. My mind raced, my body buzzed. Doctors offered sedatives, but something in me whispered, "This isn't about medicine, this is about rhythm." So I started with just 5 breaths every morning. I would sit by my window, hand over my heart and say, "Inhale, I am safe. Exhale, I let go." The first few weeks, nothing magical happened, but slowly I started sleeping more deeply, laughing more, trusting again. It wasn't a cure, it was a return to something that was never broken, just forgotten. 3 gentle truths from the breath one. Your breath reflects your beliefs. When you breathe like there's enough time, enough space, enough hope, you begin to live from that truth. 2. Still breath, still mind, still heart. When you slow the breath, you slow the storm, inside and out. 3. Breath is permission. Every inhale says, "You are alive." Every exhale says, "You are free." Close your eyes. Place one hand on your chest, one on your belly, and take one long, deep breath, not to fix, but to feel. Let it be messy. Let it be real. Let it be yours. That's your first medicine. But there's something the breath alone can't do. It opens the door to peace. But peace can't stay where old pain still lingers. What if you're holding on to something? Something emotional, heavy, invisible, without realizing it's draining your body's energy day by day. In the next part, we'll go even deeper into what healing truly requires. Letting go. 3. Letting go, the detox no one talks about. Most people think detox is about green juices or special diets. But our most toxic weight doesn't live in our liver or bloodstream. It lives in our memories, regrets, and the emotional tension that never had a voice. What if healing wasn't just about what you take in, but about what you finally release? 2 Zen monks were traveling on foot during a long pilgrimage. As they reached a muddy crossing, they saw a young woman struggling to pass. Without hesitation, the older monk lifted her gently and carried her across. Hours later, the younger monk, tense and fuming, burst out, "We monks are not supposed to touch women. How could you break our vow?" The elder replied calmly, "I put her down at the river's edge. Why are you still carrying her?" The weight we refuse to set down. So many of us walk through life like that younger monk, carrying old arguments, betrayals, misunderstandings, shame, even silent disappointments from decades ago. We smile and move forward, but inside the body tenses, the shoulders hunch under unsaid grief, the chest tightens with unspoken anger, the stomach churns with silent resentment, and we wonder why we're tired, inflamed, disconnected. The truth is, emotional weight becomes physical heaviness, and the longer we carry what we were never meant to hold, the more the body begins to protest. The body is always trying to process what the heart avoids. When something painful happens, betrayal, abandonment, guilt, we may not cry or scream. We may stay quiet, numbers strong, but the body doesn't forget. Instead of release, it stores. That tight jaw, that chronic fatigue, that lower back tension. They are not random, they are echoes. Letting go is not about forgetting. It's about finally letting the energy move, because what stays stagnant starts to decay. When we hold on tightly to old pain, we unintentionally tell the world, "I'm still living in the past," and the world responds accordingly. Life feels stuck. Relationships mirror the same patterns. Healing doesn't land. Joy feels distant. But when you let go, even just a little, energy begins to shift. You make space for breath, for the possibility, for different kinds of people to enter, for your body to remember what lightness feels like. Letting go isn't just an emotional release, it's an energetic reset. It changes the way you walk, speak, and breathe. And because of that, it changes what life brings you. For years, I thought I had forgiven someone who deeply hurt me in the past. I moved on, built a new life, told the story like it was over. But one day during a silent retreat, something cracked open. In the stillness, I felt my chest cave in. Tears came, not from the recent years, but from a much younger version of me, still holding the wound. I realized I had let go mentally, but not emotionally. I had understood the lesson, but not honored the grief. So I sat, and I let the ache rise. No logic, no analysis, just presence. And something shifted. That night, for the first time in years, I slept deeply without waking. It was as if my body had been waiting for that one moment of true release. In Zen, forgiveness is not about condoning or forgetting. It's about creating freedom. Freedom from being defined by the wound. Freedom from looping thoughts. Freedom from the physical toll of carrying what isn't yours anymore. True letting go isn't loud. It's soft. It's quiet. And often, it feels like an exhale. 3 deep reminders for emotional detox. 1. You can't heal what you refuse to feel. Numbness is a pause, not a resolution. Feeling is the beginning of release. 2. You are not what happened to you. The experience shaped you, yes, but it does not define you. Letting go is remembering that truth. 3. Letting go doesn't mean losing, it means reclaiming. Reclaiming energy, attention, breath, vitality, and your rightful place in the present moment. Take a moment, close your eyes, ask yourself softly, what have I been carrying that no longer belongs in this season of my life? Maybe it's a name, a memory, a sentence you keep replaying. Now take a breath in, and as you exhale, just imagine setting it down. Not forever, just for now. And feel what it's like to walk a little lighter. Letting go empties the cup, but the body cannot heal in emptiness. It needs nourishment. Not just through food or sleep, but through light, intention, and joy. In the next part, we'll explore what it means to fill yourself again. Not with pressure or productivity, but with the kind of energy that sustains long, radiant life. 4. Filling the body with light and life. Letting go is essential, But letting go alone is not enough. Just as a tree sheds its dead leaves in autumn, it must also soak in sunlight in spring to bloom again. Your body, your spirit, needs the same. After the release comes the renewal. Zen Master Ryokan was known for his childlike spirit and joyful solitude. Every morning, even in the harshest winter, he would open all the windows of his tiny hut and sit in silence. When asked why he exposed himself to such cold, he smiled and said, "I want the day to greet me first. I want the light to enter before the world does." Visitors often remarked how radiant and calm he seemed. He ate little, spoke rarely, but his presence was full. They say it was as if he had sunlight in his veins. What are you feeding your energy with? Once we've cleared what drains us, old memories, grudges, fear, we are left with a beautiful question. What will I fill this space with now? Most people think of health in terms of calories, supplements, or sleep cycles. These matter, but deeper than food is frequency, and deeper than sleep is soulful nourishment. The kind that begins when we intentionally choose light every morning. Light can be a literal thing, sunshine on your skin, but it's also a feeling, a vibration, a decision. The morning moment that rewires everything. There's a sacred window each morning, those first 10 minutes after you open your eyes. Your body is still soft, your brain is in transition, your heart is more honest before the noise of the world rushes in. What you think, feel, and absorb in those early moments sets the tone for your entire body's chemistry. If your first thought is pressure, the body responds with tightness. If your first gesture is gratitude, the body expands. And when you expose yourself to light, whether sunlight, music, prayer, or loving thought, your cells awaken. Not in a poetic sense, but in a deeply physiological, energetic way. Joy is a healing signal. There's a quiet truth many overlook. When you feel good emotionally, your body listens. A single moment of awe, watching birds dance in the sky, noticing the color of a leaf, hearing a child laugh, triggers a cascade of healing signals. Your breath deepens, your posture lifts. Your body remembers what it feels like to be alive, not just functioning. The nervous system unwinds, digestion improves, vitality flows, not from effort, but from alignment. Think of your energy like an inner climate. You wake up and you choose, will I let the clouds stay, or will I open the window, literally or metaphorically, and allow light to come in? When you consciously direct your first thoughts toward peace, love, simplicity, your energy begins to reflect that, and slowly your body does too. We attract what we emanate, and what we emanate starts with what we fill ourselves with daily. There was a season in my life when I started every morning scrolling through the news, reading messages, and rushing to plan. My heart raced before I'd even touch the floor. I didn't understand why my energy felt off all day, until one morning something within me whispered, give yourself light before you give yourself away. So I made a small change. Each morning, before anything else, I lit a candle. I placed my hand over my heart and I whispered 3 words. I choose joy. That one ritual, 2 minutes long, shifted everything. I felt lighter. Not because life changed, but because I stopped starting my day in the dark. 3 ways to fill yourself with light today. 1. Let the sunlight touch your skin before the screen does. Even 1 minute of morning light tells your body it's safe to be awake. It's okay to begin. 2. Begin with a sentence that opens, not closes. Try, I welcome today, or something beautiful is possible today. These words are not fluff, they're blueprints. 3. Nourish with joy, not obligation. Drink your tea slowly. Watch the birds. Breathe with the breeze. These are not distractions. These are medicines. Tomorrow morning, before the phone, before the rush, before the thoughts pull you outward, take one moment, stand by a window, let the light in, and say, I am open, I am alive, I am light. You don't have to believe it yet. Just begin to say it. Your body will begin to follow. But even as we fill ourselves with light, many of us still carry a silent fear. The fear that with each year, we are losing something. Our strength, our beauty, our relevance. What if that's not true? What if aging is not decay at all, but the beginning of something far more luminous? Let's explore that now in the next part. 5. Aging is not decay, it's transformation. Somewhere along the way, we were taught to fear getting older. We were told that aging is decline, that the body becomes fragile, the mind dull, and the soul irrelevant. But what if aging is not a slow unraveling, but a sacred unfolding? What if it's not about loss, but about distillation, refining everything unnecessary so only the truth remains? There was once a monastery where an elderly monk named Yorin lived in the quietest room of all. He no longer led meditations. He barely spoke. But every morning he would sweep the courtyard with graceful, slow movements, smiling softly as if in conversation with the air. One day a novice asked him, "Don't you miss being strong? Don't you miss teaching, walking fast, having sharp thoughts?" The monk paused, then chuckled. "When I was young, my legs were fast, but my mind wandered. Now my steps are slow, but every one of them lands on peace." The novice said nothing, but from then on he woke up early to sweep beside the old man. Why we fear aging and why we don't have to. In modern culture, aging is framed as a countdown, a slow erosion of energy, beauty, and purpose. But in Zen, it's the opposite. Aging is revered because as the body slows, the spirit awakens. What we lose in speed, we gain in stillness. What we lose in novelty, we gain in clarity. The skin may wrinkle, but wisdom shines through it. We begin to see what matters and what never really did. The body is not failing, it's adapting. It's true, our bodies change. Muscles soften. Sleep becomes lighter. Bones ask for gentler movement. But this is not decay, it's communication. It's the body saying, it's time to move differently, to live slower, to feel deeper. When we resist these messages, pushing, denying, fighting, we create tension. The body reacts with fatigue, inflammation, and imbalance. But when we listen, when we walk with instead of against, a surprising thing happens. We feel more in tune. We notice more. We enter a new rhythm, one not of youth but of grace. One reason aging feels painful isn't the body, it's the story we attach to it. If you believe each wrinkle is proof of fading worth, you suffer. But if you see it as a signature of time lived fully, it becomes sacred. Aging becomes unbearable when it threatens identity. But when you release who you thought you had to be, aging becomes liberation. You no longer chase, you no longer prove. You simply are. And that is the most powerful presence there is. Many believe that vitality belongs to the young, but vitality isn't about how fast you move. It's about how fully you align. The energy you radiate in your 60s, 70s, even 80s can be magnetic when it's rooted in authenticity. People are drawn to those who are no longer grasping, no longer pretending. This calm confidence, this inner quiet, is rare, and the universe responds to it. When you embody peace, Life slows down to meet you there. When you honor your pace, opportunities come without rush. When you cherish your season, you begin to attract what belongs in it. I remember watching my grandmother in her 80s sitting on her porch, eyes half closed, hands folded in her lap. She barely said a word, but whenever I visited, I felt calm. One day I asked her, "How do you stay so peaceful?" She replied, "I stopped trying to keep up with the world. Now I just watch the sky." That simple answer taught me more than any book. She had become a witness, not a worrier. And in her stillness, there was strength. In Buddhist thought, there's no higher path than presence, and aging offers it in abundance. Because as we slow, we see. As we let go, we feel. As we stop striving, we return. There's a reason monks shave their heads and wear simple robes. It's not to look humble, it's to strip away the distractions. Aging does the same naturally. It simplifies, clarifies, deepens, if we allow it. 3 gentle reminders about aging. 1. You are not becoming less, you're becoming distilled. Time removes what is not essential, what remains is closer to the truth. 2. Your worth is not measured in youth, it's revealed in presence. The deepest beauty is quiet, it lingers. 3. You were never meant to chase forever. You were meant to return to yourself, and aging is the invitation home. Today, take a moment to notice something about your aging body, and instead of criticizing it, bless it. Thank your knees for still walking, your eyes for still seeing light. Your heart beats through storms. This isn't a decline. This is devotion, carved in skin and bone. You've made it to the end, but really this is just the beginning, because now you know the medicine you've been looking for was never out there. It's in your stillness, your breath, your willingness to feel, to let go, to soften into presence, to rise not by force but by lightness. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been. You are not broken. You are becoming whole, not through more effort, but through deeper awareness. And your body, this beautiful, aging, miraculous body, it is not your enemy. It's your companion, your guide, your temple. So today, if this message touched something quiet inside you, if it reminded you of something you'd forgotten, I invite you to take a small, simple step. Comment below with these words, "The medicine is in me." Let's create a space where others can find that same reminder through your voice. And if there's someone you love who's been feeling lost in their body, share this with them. You might be the light they've been waiting for. This isn't the end of the journey. There's so much more to explore, to feel, to awaken. But for now, breathe, let go, and come home to yourself.